how much is your time really worth? We all have the same 24 hours a day. It's how you manage those hours that counts. If you're constantly battling the clock, you're going to love this conversation again. Kathy DeCocq is back, and we've put together a simple series to get to the root on how you can sustainably shift the way you spend your precious time. Together, we bring a holistic approach, touching on the mindset, strategy, and action components that are so vital to true change. This is number 4 of our 4 conversations. If you didn't hear the previous 3, be sure to go back. We are exploring the real barriers to maximizing your time and want to show you what you can do differently to finally make traction on the things that matter most. Today, we explore the power of commitment and how commitments are key to getting us beyond old habits and moving forward with consistency. Maybe you've been feeling at the mercy of your time. It's happened to all of us. But the truth is, while there are many things we can't control, our time is one that we can, and we have found that commitments play a key role. We want to get you back in the driver's seat of your time. Join us today. Let's talk commitment and what that means to your precious time. Here we go. I'm Carla Reeves, and this is Differently, a podcast where we explore the ins and outs of what becomes possible when we're willing to think, do, and show up differently to the moments of our everyday lives. Hey everyone, Kathy DeCocq and I are back talking about time, and we're very excited to talk about commitment today and how that relates to time. So you want to kick us off, Kathy?
Sure.
Why is commitment important?
Yeah, commitment to me means a lot, or could mean a lot of different things, but without a commitment to being aware, without a commitment to trying new things, to get new habits instilled, to work yourself towards the life that you really want, as opposed to maybe what somebody else has, impressed upon you. None of this works. Like, all these tidbits are all nice, but if you don't have the discipline to do the things, well, then, it's not going to be very impactful, because we are creatures of habit. We've been on the planet for a very long time now, each of us individually, and we've got some habits that we've created that are just so comfortable and so easy to fall into. And, Carla, what you and I have been talking about in this series is we don't like, what if we don't like where we are, right? Like, there's a different way to think about it. There's a different mindset to have, and a different identity that you can have as a entrepreneur or as an employee. And the only way really to move towards a better place, even if what you have right now is pretty awesome, like, I believe you can always do something a little bit better. So if you want to move in that direction, it's going to take some action, and it's going to take some discipline and commitment to really try some stuff that's going to feel a little uncomfortable for a couple of weeks. And then, after that, you'll kind of get into the groove, and the idea is it becomes the new normal for you, and it's the old fallback habit, right? So that's what I think about, when you say commitments. It's that all-in feeling, that willingness to get a little bit uncomfortable and try some stuff. How about for you, Carla? What do you think about?
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, so for me, when I think of commitments, I think of this time in my life where I was really kind of like you're saying, like, feeling just at the mercy of life, just kind of going, life was kind of blowing me around with the wind. And I was kind of this victim to my circumstances and what was happening. And there was a time that I started to, I was when I was a new mom, and I was journaling. I was trying to really gather my sanity and be a great mom and take better care of myself. And I started writing every day kind of how I was feeling. And after a long period of time, I went back and I noticed that my feelings were all over the place. And like on any given day, on any given moment, I'm feeling something different. And I had this like moment, this aha moment of like, wow, I better know what I'm committed to, because if I follow what I'm feeling, I'm not going to get anywhere fast. And that was a huge life-changing moment for me of like, I need to know what I'm committed to and let my commitments lead the way. And that's kind of what you're saying is like, it's uncomfortable, yes, because we do have all those habits. And for some of us, we are accustomed to following kind of what we're feeling. And sometimes that can be good and okay. And we're not saying dishonor the way that you feel in any way. But what if you let your commitments lead the way more of the time? And for me, that was a real game changer. And it took away a lot of the overthinking of, do I feel like this? Do I want to do this today? Is it the right time? Is it the right weather? Is it the right, like it took away all that. And it's like, wait a minute, what am I committed today? Okay, I'm going to show up and do this today. And you can work with your energy and the way that you're feeling on a particular day, sort of in the structure or framework of what you're committed to. And for me, that was life altering.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit. And so I wonder then, Carla, I mean, to me, it sounds like you would have to have done a little bit of work to say, what am I committed to have those like signposts in the ground, to be able to look for. So how did you go about figuring that out? Like, is there something you can share with the audience on like what you went through to figure your signposts?
Hey, I wanted to pop in here on behalf of Kathy and I and give you a special invitation. We are so excited and truly want to get you back in the driver's seat of your time. We created Time Camp for that very reason. Time Camp is a 4-week virtual, highly interactive workshop experience. It's not a time machine, but we've created the next best thing for you. Kathy and I are your camp coaches and there to ensure that you get the mindset, tools, and strategies that will equip you to create more time for the important things and help you make the most of every minute. We've put a link in the show notes where you can get all the details and save your spot in Time Camp. There is limited seating. You will want to make your reservation soon. Okay, let's get back to talking time. Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, it at that particular time, it was kind of like, I want to be a great mom. I want to be a happy mom. I felt like that was one of the greatest gifts I could give my kids. But for me, it became really a blueprint. Like I always have a list of commitments that I'm running by. So, and the commitments are not just one area of my life, but they encompass multiple areas. And so always for me, it's like, I want to create an extraordinary marriage. And it's not that we always have one, but I'm always like, it's kind of a pillar that I'm always reaching for that gives me what I'm going to do today. Family, business, creating business, the kind of business and experience I want to create for my clients, maybe a revenue goal, right? Like there's a commitment in different areas. And so it's just identifying what are your big rocks? What do you want to move the needle on when it comes really to the end? What do you want to have moved the needle on in your life? And identifying maybe 3 to 5, big rocks and lining yourself up to those.
And I imagine too, because I like what you said, like keep it a small number, because I think if all of a sudden you want to do this huge overhaul, right, then it becomes so big it's untenable. Like you can't start a single thing because there's just so many of them. So focusing on a couple 3, 5 is I enjoy that and use that a lot. Did you go deeper to say things? Because I work on this with my clients and myself quite a bit, because I'll make a statement like I want to have a good business, Okay, so what does that mean? Like, so I imagine you did a little bit of work there to say, if I wanted to have certain revenue goals, if I wanted to be a happy mom, have an amazing marriage, like there's probably some detail work that went into that too. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think there can be some, sub bullets to that to say, what does that look and tangibly feel like, and how are you going to know you're there? I think it is important to have some depth around that. And also that makes it more tangible to say, what actions then are going to lead me to that feeling or experience. And I like to think about, commitments and goals too as a place to not necessarily get to, but a place to come from. They really, I think so often we're trained to like that whole achievement, keep achieving to get somewhere. But if you think about what it is you really want, and then who do I need to be today, and what do I need to take action around today to create more of that now, and it's going to move you in that direction, but it's also going to create more of that experience now, which is what we all want. Like someday may never come. Let's
Yeah,
start creating that now.
I really like that. And, being or identifying as an achiever, like there's always just set something out in the future to work towards. And I like what you're saying about, like, why? Like, who says who says that it has to just be some future thing? Like, make it now, make it something that you can manage, that you can plan for, that it's in like today. What if you only had today? What could you do? And I think something like that is, for me, is very motivating, because if I look and I think like projects, so I think in end goal and then back it up, right? But some of those end goals are huge, and it's like, ooh, how am I ever going to achieve this giant real estate portfolio that I imagine that I'll have in the future, right? Well, if I think about that now, I'm like, ooh, can't even get started. But if I think about one thing that I could do, or a way that I approach decisions that I make throughout the day, who I'm going to talk to, what book I'm going to read, like those are very small, manageable things that take you towards that big goal, even if you don't know exactly what that big goal is or when it's going to happen.
I love that. And we're always going to fall back, right? Like fall back on those old habits. We're going to slip, we're going to trip, we're going to find ourselves off track. And the most important thing is that we don't focus so much on the slip or the falling back, that's natural and normal. But the most important thing is that we get back on. And I think for me, a list of commitments really helps to keep me on track, because I can overnight sometimes forget, like, who am I and what am I up to? And it's like, oh yeah, this is what I'm up to, and this is what I'm doing, and this is what I'm, moving towards and, want to create today. So it does help us to stay on track for sure. And
Yeah, I do like
let's
that
talk
quite a
about some of
bit.
the rewards of commitments.
I think I'm trying to think, for me, like I reward myself in small ways, but like I'll get myself. I'm if I were a dog, I would be very highly food motivated. Like I would just be like, yeah, let's whatever trick you need me to do, that's cool as long as there's bacon involved. So I get myself, little food rewards, um, like in the evening. Sometimes the reward is to just get up and get a nice cold glass of water, which sounds like super lame, but like some days that, all I'm at is at my desk having conversations with folks, which I really enjoy. But, there's other functions that need to be maintained. So I do that. I'll go read a book for a few minutes, like go play a game on my phone. Like I've got little rewards that I do to keep me going kind of throughout the day. And then things like you had mentioned previously, like vacations, like there's those types of things that are a little bit bigger. Um, if I have a good day business revenue wise, like I might treat myself to a new kayak or something. Like, there's different levels of it, and I try to build rewards into each day because I'm a very I like games. So I like to have an outcome. I like to have a little fun thing, and that happens very quickly. If it's 2 years from now that I get the reward, I'm like, not doing it. So I try to play into that knowledge of myself and do various types of rewards all the time. How about you?
I love that you took this in that direction. That's not what I actually
Yeah.
was asking, but it's
I like
perfect because I think it's really important that we talk about rewards and, there's got to be some reward to all this hard work that we're doing and this good work that we're doing. And rather than, I think it used to be like work until you retire and then enjoy life. And I love the idea of building in, let's enjoy life along the way because we may never get to retirement. We don't know. Right. But you also reminded me of a recent interview I did on a podcast. And she said, this is kind of off topic, but related, is she said when she gets stuck in something, she stops and chops vegetables. And when you said take a drink of water, I love that idea because sometimes stepping away from our work to reward ourselves actually is giving back to our work and will fuel our work and inspire our work and on and on and on and on. What I was really asking was about what are the rewards of having commitments? And I think it kind of falls in line with what we're talking about here is that when you have commitments to other places in your life, it has you show up and create, a day that is more balanced. I think that people are seeking balance, but I really believe we create balance, and getting up to get a drink of water is a great way that we create balance, a really simple, small way, but it can have big benefits. So yeah, that's what I was really asking, but it's kind of all ties together.
Yeah, I took it in slightly more tactical direction as I tend to do, but thinking about it, and these are all things that mean different things to different people, right? But your work days should be easier. You should have more energy at the end of the day for your family, for your friends, your hobbies. You should have less days where you're like, oh, I just got to get to the couch. All I got to do is get Netflix going. And you should have, as much, if not more, success in your business or your job, because when you're in control of your time and you've got a positive time mindset, you've got a balanced identity, and you've given yourself permission to do what works for you, you're playing into your strengths, all that is adding up to is so that you can be as effective as possible when it's time for you to show up for work, whether it's your own business or whether you're an employee someplace. So it all will start to move itself towards even better things, business and life-wise, than you have today. And it just takes a little bit of work and discipline and action to get there.
I love that. And I'm just going to add to the list of benefits because that I've experienced those too, is you're going to have more time. You're going to be making traction on the things that really matter, that that is so important. And the energy piece is so important, that there's a way to do and relate to time in a way that can actually help you increase and harness your energy and your aliveness, and that there can be more joy in the everyday, that we don't have to suffer through this. We can really create and design a way that allows for all of this and more joy in our life.
I love it.
So let's just recap. We started with mindset and went to kind of our identity around time, and those two pieces were so vital because to make a deep change in the way that we do time or schedule ourselves or operate our days, it really requires the mindset and identity piece of kind of breaking some of the old patterns and cycles that in thinking that just doesn't work anymore and doesn't feel good anymore, and invent new ways that allow us to to thrive. And then the last two were around permission, which was so vital, right? And commitment. So
Nice.
Takeaways for today around commitment. I think, I'll just start by saying, take a look at the big rocks. I think a week ago or so, I was delivering a workshop and somebody said, like, how do I create my life when I'm just feel like I'm surviving every day? And I reminded her that you're already creating and building something. It's just not being done with a lot of intention or purpose. And really, we want to bring some intention and purpose around that. So take a look at what is most important to you. I know some things you want to be heading towards and you want to build in your life and you want to look back and say, I made time for these things. What are those things that light you up and get you out of bed every day and bring joy? And write those down. Anything you want to add, Kathy?
Yeah, I love that. And I think, a couple of things, what's one thing you can do today to achieve that list that you just wrote down, right? That you were just talking about. And then the other one is, there's no way to dress it up or sugarcoat it. Like, it's going to be uncomfortable because you're going to be making adjustments. You're going to be learning new habits that are moving you towards that life that you want to create and design. So just know that it's not going to be comfortable, but that's okay. Like, that's when progress is being made, is when you feel a little like you could either do this or vomit at any time, like flip a coin. That's when you're on the right track, at least in my experience. Anyway.
I love that. It's like learning to dance with it and learning to really know that that's an indicator that you're onto something new. You're making traction in new places and you're working your edges and creating something different. And that's what this is all about.
Absolutely. Awesome. This has been so much fun, Carla. It's been, like I said before, we could talk, I think, for days on this stuff, but we'll work on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And see the show notes for some takeaways and action items that will kind of sum this up for you. But I hope this has been valuable. So much fun, Kathy.
All right. It's been a blast. Thanks, Carla.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Differently. I hope it stirred your thinking, and I invite you to take one inspired action. If you want to get back in the driver's seat of your time, your inspired action this week might be to sign up for Time Camp. Camp starts soon. There are limited spots available. We've put a link in the show notes where you can find all the details. We're packing our bags and getting all of our gear ready for you, and we can't wait to see you at Time Camp.